Welcome all of you to this special stream of the Hard Rock Show. Yes, it says it's quote-unquote live, but this is a pre-recorded bit that I'm putting together for you because I've had some interesting technical difficulties this week, but I wanted to try and give you something new that hasn't seen the light of day yet. So I've got a couple of interesting bits and pieces for you. First bit is to do with Queen. The second is to do with Bell, believe it or not. So before we get stuck into things, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all the usual stuff. We hope you enjoyed this little different thing tonight. It's something that I put together out of the archives that hasn't been sent. It's all been recorded in 2023, so it's getting up to a couple of years old now. As always, I try to work my way through these things as much as I can, but it's always harder or easier said than done. So anyway, when I can, I'll bring these things out and we'll have a bit of fun with it tonight. But without any further ado, it's time to get stuck into things. So what we've got first up for you is what I've gone and done. It's been a bit sneaky. Just gone through the archives that I know that people from us on the show want to seek it out there. So this is for Dave. This is an interview with Dave and his two wonderful children that we did back as a part of a 3-part Queen special that we did for our Patreon audience. So a big shout out to our Patreon supporters. You'd have seen this already, but hopefully everyone else up there now gets a kick out of this one too. So I figured, yeah, it's time to give this one a go. So without any further ado, let's throw over to Dave and his two children for a little bit of a chat about Queen. Sorry, this one can go a little bit off the rails, but it's a lot of fun. Enjoy.
In case you're tuning in, or you should know by now if you're watching this sort of stuff, that we're doing a bit of a series on Queen at the moment. And Dave, you may or may not know it there, folks, has a couple of people with him that are huge fans of the band Queen. So how about the two Rugrats there introduce themselves?
What's your name?
I'm Jade. Rory.
Rory.
There we go. So we have Jade and Rory.
How do you know me?
Because you were my
I
dad.
like
You're my dad. Oh, no, Freddie. Oh, goodness.
So we're having a whole lot of fun here while we do this one because I've been wrangling dogs and Dave's wrangling.
Wow,
Fun doing this one tonight. But just long story short, Rory and Jade are Dave's two lovely children, and he's been kind enough to bring them on because they wanted to talk about one of their favorite bands of all time. So if I can get their attention for 30 seconds, we're going to ask some questions and we'll have a bit of a chat and we'll see how things go from there. So just for Rory first, what is it that you love about Queen? And then Jade, we'll get you to answer the same thing after. What is it you love about Queen? Why do you like them so much?
How the music is.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What about it?
What do you like about the music?
That's very upbeat.
Cool. That's a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Can't think of anything else.
That's okay. That's all good.
Great news.
Hey.
For those that are unable to see, Jade has a battle jacket that her and Dave have been working on together for a while. And on her battle jacket, she has a lot of Queen stuff as well. They're all wearing Queen gear tonight. So how about Jade? What is it about Queen that you love so much?
What do you
Go.
I like how Queen has upbeat music and it's all fun and playful.
Playful?
You can dance to it. That's playful.
There's a playful energy to Queen that we always love to. All right.
You're dancing like crazy.
This is probably
He's welcome to aerobics.
Sorry. Come back.
it's probably a silly question. We're gonna because of what everyone's wearing tonight, but I am going to ask it anyway. Who's your favorite member in the band? Who's the person?
Did you hear that question?
No.
Who is your favorite person in the band? Rory?
Freddie, of course.
Of course. Same for you, Jade?
Freddie and Brian May.
Ah,
Both good.
That's get some
Right, I
love
thought
from
you could put your sleeves
Right.
out. Okay. Look through. I've got my sleeves out. Sorry about your good old Dave.
We've had a lot of fun with hyperactive kids as we go through this one. This is the first time either, Dave, so don't worry about it. Alrighty,
Yeah,
so
never done this before.
no, with
Spring
your
break.
So while they have the kid version of the adult drinks and what we've got going on here, let's ask about your favorite albums. So we're going through the entire discography. Let's start with you first this time, Jade. What are your favorite albums from Queen?
I like The Works and Jazz
Nice.
and What's the first Queen album called again?
Queen.
Queen.
They couldn't think of a title.
Awesome. Good
His
choice.
Queen's biggest hits.
First one's Queen 1.
Yeah, Queen 1. Then you have more after that. All right. What about you, Rory? What are your favorite albums?
I haven't really been looking at Queen much, but I do like We Will Rock You.
Yeah, well, we're going to go to favorite songs. All right. So what are your favorite songs then?
We Will Rock You.
Yep.
And
Any more?
Jay, don't tell me. I know.
You can still say it because you used to like it.
I think that's it.
That's it. Just We Will Rock You.
That's all
Okay.
right. Not a problem at all. What about Jade? I think Jade's got a
I
bigger
got an
list.
entire list.
You go, list. Grab your list.
Let's
All right,
see.
cool. Bring on the list. Here we go. We like lists here.
Gotta find it. One more. Okay, found it.
Yeah, cool. Go ahead.
My favorite Queen songs are Keep Yourself Alive, Liar, Killer Queen, You're My Best Friend, Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy, We All Rock You, Get Down, Make Love, Fat Bottom Girls, More of That Jazz, and Everyone Bites the Dust, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Radio Gaga, I Want to Break Free, and Face It Alone.
Wow. That's a good list.
That's a cool
Really
list.
good list.
Yeah.
That's the greatest hits right there.
Just about. So
Wow.
I know with Jade, Jade likes listening to things the same way that I do, from what Dave tells me. And that is that she enjoys production quite a bit. So what is it about Queen, the way Queen sounds, that makes you really interested in how
Okay. I've got all my silly down.
Production question, Jade. Got the penny?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Get that up too.
Okay, cool. At least what you like.
Okay, I got it.
Shush.
Cool.
In Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy, when he says, we'll meet at 9 precisely, if you listen to it in headphones, you'll hear tick-tock, tick-tock from one ear to the other.
Yep. Yeah. So you listen
Rory,
to
nobody can see you. Come in.
all right. But you listen to things the same way that I do. So what is it about that sort of stuff that really interests you? What because a lot of people don't listen to music that way, especially when they're younger. So what makes it so fascinating to you? Why do you like that so much?
I like it because it draws me in more.
Cool. Yep. That's awesome. Do you like the with Queen in particular, one of the big things they do a lot is a lot of layering, especially on the vocals. They do a lot of vocal layering. Do you like the way that they do that and how they double track and then layer on like 70 plus vocal takes? Have you done much reading on that sort of stuff? Yeah.
Like in Bohemian Rhapsody, all the Galileos and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is that part with the ticking clock? Is that like your favorite production trick, or is there other little bits and pieces in there that you like when they've done the little sonic bits and pieces in there to really interest you?
Yeah. Whoa, I do Benji.
Yeah, I like the panning. Panning
Yeah.
draws me in.
Okay.
Nice. That's cool. I like it's really fun for me to talk about that sort of stuff. I like talking about it a lot. People that watch the show will know that. Talk about production and going through this Queen special. There's a lot of that because this, for me, when it comes to Queen, what your dad and I have spoken about it, that Queen is one of the most important bands for me because when I was starting to get into the more rock side of music, this was the band that started me off. And the way it's produced and mixed, along with the really intricate composition parts of it, was what really, really sucked me into the band. So I find it really interesting to me to talk to someone else who's young and has found Queen, obviously with a different parent than I had growing up. But the cool thing for me is that the production side has still managed to speak to kids even today versus all the years on from when Dave and I were kids versus now it's another generation coming through, which is cool. What is it? What do many of your friends in school listen to Queen as well, or is it just you, do you think?
I feel like one or two people listen to
Yep.
Queen, but everybody else listens to pop.
Yeah, that's okay. But what do you think that your friends like about Queen then? Is it still that fun energy thing, or is there other things they like as well? Bless you.
The dramatic sneeze,
Is
dude.
that your Is that your
At least you say Ayo.
Chief.
Hey,
Why did you do that? Oh, I see cubes. What?
That's
No,
okay.
I
I'm
really
getting a special delivery right now too, which is awesome. So
I really see cubes.
going all through. Thank you. Love you, baby. Got a special delivery while we're doing this. All right. So I'm told that Jade in particular has some facts she wants to share with us about the mighty band Queen. So how about you? You got your little list there of things you want to share with us about the band? Go for it.
I found out that Freddie owned 10 cats.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
a lot of cats.
I don't know how you can look after them all.
He's
Yeah,
the
lots of money.
crazy cat queen.
Good dude.
What other facts have you got? Is that the only one? The craziest one you got?
Yes. And I have 2 things that I like about Queen.
Cool.
I like how Freddie is always up and ready when he's on stage. He's so energetic.
Nice. Yes. Great
And he makes the audience happy to be there.
Yep.
Ooh,
So-
And that's all I've got.
That's awesome. That's a good list. So, with that in mind, when you listen to Queen, this is for both of you. So, we'll go with Jade first, then Rory. When you listen to Queen, how does the Queen music make you feel?
It makes me feel happy.
Yeah, that's cool. That's the best thing about it. What about you, Rory? How does the music from Queen make you feel when you listen to it?
How does Queen make you feel?
Nothing much.
No. If you're happy, you're sad, or
Nothing much.
nothing much. Okay.
Nothing much.
No, that's
Happy
all.
to, just happy to hear.
What we do know is he loves the camera, so that's the
Nothing much.
Don't let that people see your inside of your mouth.
Yeah, no one wants to see that.
That's already happened now. All right. So, what you got a lot of things in the background there. You got your t-shirts on, you got the poster, you got your Funko Pops there, and all the other stuff going on. What's the favorite piece of Queen sort of physical stuff you have in the house? If it's an album, or if it's a toy, or if it's
They want to watch.
is it your patch? What is your favorite bit?
I have 2 favorite bits.
Cool. Awesome.
We watch these a lot.
Nice.
The last concert.
Nice.
And I have these CDs. I got Greatest Hits 1,
That's where I started.
Greatest Hits 2,
Nice.
and Greatest Hits 3.
Good collections they are. They're good collections.
Is there a Greatest Hits 4?
No.
No, probably not.
There's deep
No,
cuts
but-
one on Spotify.
And I'm
Yeah.
gonna listen to it one day.
Different compilation album.
No Greatest Hits 4. Oh no! Are you so sad? Where? No Greatest Hits 4.
I have
Where?
enough songs to make a greatest hits for, so maybe one day it'll happen. I'm sure it'll be.
Where?
Rory, can I show up?
Show up your mom.
Drop it.
So that was my little list of questions, Dave. Is there anything else you want to throw into this one?
What was that?
You know
Mom.
it's better than I do, obviously. You should. If you don't, I'm
Yeah.
concerned. But is there any other questions you want to throw at him now quickly while we've got him?
Mom.
I think they've spoken enough.
I think
Time for
for the
bed.
record, this is about the most stunned mullet like I've seen you, Dave. So this is
Yeah.
you go, shit.
What's that?
What happened?
Yeah, they just leave me speechless sometimes.
Yeah, that happens with kids, mate. Believe me, it happens. Alrighty, so for Rory and for Jade, before we let you go, is there anything you'd like to say to people watching this one at home that are new to Queen or already fans of Queen? What would you like to say to them that are watching this?
Queen is the best.
Good choice. Good words. What about you, Rory? Anything you'd like to say?
Hmm.
Or am I playing with fire?
Like a bomb that's about to go off.
Yeah. I'm waiting for it.
What do you want to say to the people watching about Queen?
I like it.
That's
We'll go with that.
That is a good one. That is a very good answer to it. All right. So if there's nothing else there, Dave, I think we'll you can tend to wrap up there.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap up there.
Bye.
All right. Well, we take a minute here. Just quickly, I want to thank both Dave and Rory for being a part of this one. It's actually really cool to get some young ones involved in this sort of stuff. So thank you both for making the time to sit down and get on camera and talk. It's not as easy as people think it is, so it takes a bit of courage to go and do it. So thank you both very much for being a part of this and having a bit of chat and a bit of fun on camera with us. I really, really do appreciate it. And to Dave as well, thank you too for letting your kids on here and encouraging them to speak their minds when it comes to music. It's one of the best things going around. So thank you all of you. And hopefully you've enjoyed it, and hopefully you get to enjoy watching this one back, not only soon, but also in the years to come when you're a bit older and you get embarrassed by this stuff later. All righty. Thank you very much, guys. We'll catch up soon.
Thanks, mate.
Alrighty, that's that part done of the show tonight. Hopefully you are enjoying this little different thing that I put together for you all to watch as a pre-recorded stream. If you're leaving comments, that's great. I appreciate it, but unfortunately I'm not watching live with you, so we hope you enjoy it, and I'll go through the comments as soon as I can and see what's going on there. Next up, though, is something different. It's the first and only so far, quote-unquote, Patreon Presents show we put together for our Patreon supporters. But that said, there are actually more of these in the works now, so hopefully you'll see more of this soon as well. But to test this whole premise, we did a little thing a while back with Belle. She was already part of the streams and that by then, but she put together, as a part of the reward for her on Patreon, she wanted us to do a couple of albums, one from Northlane, one from Septicflesh, to explore her taste in music a bit more and give us a run for our money on things. Now, these reviews get quite in-depth, so hopefully you enjoy this deeper dive into these two albums. But yeah, we had a lot of fun doing this, and like I said, more of this is to come. I'll be back after this one just to wrap things up, but for now, on with the show. This is a first for us. Welcome to what is hopefully the first of many more to come. We're going to call this one sort of Patreon Presents. And we've been joined, you've seen Belle obviously quite a bit now on the live streams and on some TV stuff as well. But in case you weren't aware already, Belle is one of our finest Patreon supporters and has been for a while now. So one of our rewards is to go through a few albums or anything. Basically, we create an episode of some sort based on content they want to discuss. So Belle's idea for this one was to cover a couple of albums that she loves, one of which we know has been contentious in the past. So we're going to have some fun with this one tonight. But obviously, if you're joining us, I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
I'm Belle.
Like I was saying, this is the first of hopefully many Patreon Present series here at the Hard Rock Show. If you're watching or listening, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoy what you get out of this one. There are reference tracks, what we're talking about, in the description of this one, and links for all of our socials as well. So make sure you like, follow, subscribe. And if you do want to do things like this with us, then do what Bella's done and jump onto our Patreon page. If you'd be so kind, any help you can give us there, no matter how small or large, is greatly, greatly appreciated. Well, like I was saying, we got these sessions are a bit shorter, a bit more punchy. We'll see what happens. I've got to randomise right to see who gets to go first on these things. But the two albums we're going to cover off are Northlane's Obsidian album, and then the other one we're going to cover is going to be Septicflesh with Modern Primitive. Both relatively recent albums. We're going to start with the Aussie release first. We're going to get stuck into this one. This is Northlane Obsidian, 13 tracks, 56 minutes, the sixth studio album from the Sydney band, released April 2022 independently via Believe. Produced by the band with the assistance of Chris Blancato. 4 singles been released, including Clockwork and Echo Chamber, with Clockwork chosen as the official theme song for the video game Rainbow Six Siege. I believe this is the band's first as a 4-piece since the departure of bassist Brendan Padjasek, and special thanks to Nerve Gas actually sent this one into us, and Belle is a huge fan of this band in a general rule, which is how this all came about, because there was some bands behind the scenes about certain albums being covered, certain albums not being covered, and there was some chatter back and forth, and we weren't that enamored in a lot of respects, and then Belle was wanting to go to the defense of this one in big ways because she has been a fan for a long time. So before we do the review part, just Belle, give us a bit of your background with this band and how you love them to bits. So give us a bit of a reason why.
I do. So I first heard this band when their first album came out in 2011. I believe it was. Got here, Discoveries. Here we go.
Hey.
So Discoveries, their first album. I fell in love with it. It was different. It was Aussie, so that was a bonus. It was hard and heavy, but yeah, as I said, mostly different. They just had a real progressive element to their sound, and that appealed to me. So it stood out, and so I've followed them ever since. And they're just a band that I'm, Australia should be proud of, and they are, because they won an ARIA, they've won awards, they have a huge following, and even internationally. So I just really kept pushing for you guys to, listen, and you've got to listen, you've got to hear this, and yes, it's a bit different, but don't judge it, on not face value, that's the wrong way of putting it, but just really listen to what you're doing, and you hopefully will find something in there that you like and sort of turn about a little bit, because it is different. So we'll see how we go then.
Yep. Now, I get to go first with the randomised draw here, so that's going to really set things up pretty nicely here for a second. But we have covered this band before. Before you were following a spell, I'm pretty sure. We covered the last album, Alien, I believe it's called.
Yep.
And that got mixed reviews, I think, from us. Some of us enjoyed it more than other ones. It was a bit of a mixed bag one. And Dave and I think original Tim was possibly going to be in on that session as well. When we originally were trying to do a review of this one, and then things went a bit pear-shaped. It didn't go quite right behind the scenes, so I sort of put it on the shelf for a while. And I've still got that last review written up. I went back and revisited it completely, did a whole fresh review for this. I'm not going to go over the old review, but that was a bit of a middle ground kind of review from me as well. This is definitely a mixed bag kind of an album. It's I got a bit of it's a metalcore meets dance in a lot of ways, kind of a feel and vibe to it all. There's more to it than that, but that's sort of the meat on the bone, so to speak, when it comes to what this sort of genre bending kind of stuff comes down to. Right from the opening track, you get all that and more. It starts off very spacious and ethereal, and then really leans into the snappy core side of things after that. But there's some really nice clean moments all throughout this album. I just feel when they did the harsher stuff, they missed a trick, because when they kicked into the really harsh stuff, they almost eliminated melody, and I didn't think that was quite required for what they were going for. That is in direct contrast to how many bands especially lately, we've noted have really sort of started exploring what the genre is capable of and where it can go. They're expanding the sort of scope of works, for lack of a better term, when it comes to this sort of field of music. This one feels like they're trying to go there, but it also feels forced, not as smooth and organic as other bands have sort of persisted with this one. But this is just me. One of my original notes on that was that it was to do with the use of the breakdowns. It does make it feel more generic than it needs to. It pulls things down a bit for mine. And another wrinkle for me is that I prefer, when I interviewed Frankenbach years ago, it was funny because that's when it clicked for me. When it comes to this sort of music, anything aggressive and harsh, if it's got a feel my wrath kind of a vibe, I get into it. If it's like feel pity for me, I sort of pull back a bit from that. And this one gives me the pity vibe versus the feel my wrath vibe, which is a bit of a shame, because it sort of puts me in a different mindset when I listen to that sort of music. Combine that with the sort of genericness in the breakdowns, and I feel like you got a bit of an anchor on this one, because it's a shame, because listening to it, the melodic side of this band is really, really impressive. I enjoyed that quite a lot. I can't fault the technicality of it all. It's well produced. It's well performed. The tones really suit. The mix is incredibly well balanced. There's some nice layering. There's some good ear candy in this as well. Actually, good ear candy. So the production side is really cool. The performances are great. Like the emotive weight is solid lyrically across this one, aside from my gripe on the feel my pain kind of thing. Again, execution is wonderful from top to bottom, beginning to end, all sort of stuff. It's just about the songs themselves. Now, all those things said, when it clicks, when they get it right, for me anyway, it's fucking cool. Echo Chamber is a good example for me. That sort of the blend of techno and metal on that song was perfect. That really hit home for me. And generally speaking, the vocals are wonderful as well. It's nothing against the growling side of things, but that side of this band, when it comes to the cleaner, more melodic stuff, that works just really well, and there's still plenty of bite in that side of things too. I just felt like the growls, they're well done and all that, but I just felt like because of the way I'm sort of putting this all together in my mind, it just doesn't feel like they do enough to sort of really stand out, whereas the melodic more aggressive stuff, that worked really, really well compared to the growls. It's just something that worked well for it. But that song, Echo Chamber, is undeniable. It's infectious. It's got great energy. The crescendo in the chorus is great when the high note kicks in. That makes the breakdown work too. So when they got that song right, they really did. That composition was bang on. That shows me, when I'm listening to it, though, what the misstep is in the other songs on the record, though, because you got this one that's really cool, the groove, the energy, the way it all changes tempo, the vibe of it. It was so good. The flip side for me is Carbonized has a fantastic chorus, but the verse feels generic, which is, it just felt a bit more one-dimensional compared to the other. It's weird because it is a mixed bag album, like I'm saying, and I'm probably coming across harsher than I mean to, because we listen to a lot of music, so you're going to be critical at some point. But it just felt, I don't know, like there's moments where it's really, really good in other songs. Like Echo Chamber the whole thing is great. Carbonized, the chorus is great. The verse is kind of lacking a bit. I think the lyrics struggle in that one in particular, like making shadows shift like an incubus. That doesn't make any sense. Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. To me anyway. It had no context to make it make sense, which is a bit sort of like whatever. Same thing with Mirrors and Smoke hit it with a fresh coat. Like, I'm not sure what they're going for with that. Now, I'm not sure if I'm, if this is my Skinner moment, or am I out of touch, or the kids out of touch, but it just feels it just felt like they were going for a bit too cheeky, and it didn't come off. Abomination is a bridge too far for me as well. It doesn't fit. It feels like one of the failed tracks from the Spawn soundtrack. The straight up house bit, and that irked me. It's a shame, because me breaking up the album was really important. It just wasn't executed well in the writing. It did bring colour to the album, made it interesting in that regard, just didn't hit me. It's a little telling for me when you dig into things behind the scenes that on their current tour, they're currently on tour as we do this one. Well, they just were not long ago. They've got a 7-song set with 3 songs from this album and 4 from the previous album, Alien. So for me, that's a bit of a tell, right? I think that it's coming across more widely that maybe this album isn't as strong as Alien, because Alien got a better response from me. But counter to that, Plenty is a nice balancing track that brings what I like from this band and this album back into the foreground. It's cool groove, good melody in that one. And then you got This Is a Test, which is really cool. That's another one where it works. I don't hate dance metal. I love Rammstein, for example. I love Voyager. It just needs to be executed well, and I don't think these guys are in that category for me. They have the ability. It just needs to be filtered and refined. I think maybe working with a stronger producer. Not the technical side is good, but having someone to push them a bit more might work a bit more. It feels like they need an outside voice to sort of channel their creative energy a bit better. It feels like they're still really sort of locking down who they are, and it does at times, but then other moments here, it feels like it's bang on. So the bang on moments, more of that. Don't need all of it. Like, you can still have a lot of what's here, but I was like more balance of what I liked and less of what I didn't like, if that makes sense. Zen, though, is a track that's grown on me more as time has gone by. We've spent a bit of time with this album over a year now, basically. That has some great contrast and cut through by comparison. The drawn out close on that one was cool as well. And Cypher is another one that's gotten better with more time spent with it. So there are parts of this that have grown on me. A lot of this album is like that. Some tracks don't gel with me at all, even after all this time, but others have, generally speaking, gotten better for me over time. It's one of those albums that you should give time to. Don't listen to my point of view only and make up your mind on it. It's one of those ones you want to sit, though, after you listen to it, let it air out a bit, and then come back to it again. I think that makes a big difference as opposed to listen to it 3 times in a row. I think it's one of those ones you put it on, then come back to it a few months later kind of thing. It's one of those sporadic listen kind of albums. I think it's better appreciated in that context. Because for me, I don't know, I'm curious, because one of my notes here, I'm curious as to what long-time fans think of it. We're going to get that. That's the whole point of this one. Belle's going to give us her perspective in a moment. But I think Nova is a lovely song that brings light to the album, but it doesn't seem to move, and it makes it easier to tune out, which is a shame because it's a really nice song. But again, Inamorata flows on nicely from that. It's a better change on this one. The drumming on that is really cool too in that song. But unfortunately for me, the last 2 tracks sort of drag it out a bit further again too. Which is one of the problems. I think it relies on being too bludgeoning, which makes the whole thing feel longer than it actually is. There's light and shade, but the heavy hitting songs are really similar to one another, and as such, you feel like you're lacking that potential impact from those songs. Not a bad album. Like I said, it's gotten better for me over time. It's just not going to be one I'm going to reach for with any sort of real purpose. I'm glad I listened to it. Glad I gave it some time. I hope other people out there like it more than I did. It just didn't grab me as much as I wanted it to. I think it's one to check out if you're curious. I'm not sure what it's done for the band per se, but that said, there's more than enough here to make you believe that the next album, like it's one of those albums where you listen to it and you go, okay, the next one, I reckon there's enough there that they could really fucking knock it out of the park. Time will tell. They could either knock it out of the park or they could just completely fall over. But that's one of those albums where it's like they're so close and yet so far, you just don't know which way it's going to go. But anyway, time will tell. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Echo Chamber, plenty, and this is a test as my standouts on this one. Let's see. Let's go to Belle next. You want to rebut?
Absolutely.
Please do.
I sure do. No, that was good. All right. So, look, first of all, I just want to apologise because I have about 10 pages. 10.
That's all right. You might have a bit of a lag. I just want to say, just for the record, Belle, I don't ever slam anything just for the fun of it, just so you know. I just sort of I hope I gave that constructive criticism for you, not
absolutely. No, yeah. I respect your opinion always. Good.
Now kick me in the teeth. Go on.
Did you say 10 pages? Yeah. I haven't written 10 pages on Dreamtheater.
I'm sorry. They are. It's like large font and stretched out, but I just I had to scale it back.
Wait for my Metallica reviews later on, mate.
From.
My God.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wow. Okay. I better get a move on that. All right. So, look, I was initially surprised by this album sound when I first heard it. In that, I mean, the greater shift towards using more electronic elements in their music. And I've been listening to Northlane since their first album, Discoveries, as I said earlier. And so I've heard their sound evolve over the years. And they've always incorporated these elements and progressively more so with each album. There was quite a big shift towards it on the previous album, Alien, and now even more so with Obsidian. Enough to surprise me, anyway.
Okay.
This album didn't initially get its hooks into me, though. I can't remember why. I think it might have been bad timing, not for the band releasing the album, but for me as a listener. I think I might have been really obsessed with another album, possibly Septicflesh's album. I have to look at the timing of that. But I did give it an honourable mention during our top 10s of 2022. So I did like it. It just wasn't in my top 10, even though that wasn't a full 10 albums on that list. So I genuinely want to slap myself for that now because it's more than deserving, and it's definitely in my top 10 albums of 2022 now. So loving this band the way I do, it made me go back to this album earlier this year to spend some more time with it, and I was rewarded tenfold, or should I say 13-fold, because there are 13 songs on the album and I like being silly.
That's cool.
This album was written predominantly during lockdown, and the lyrics in a lot of these songs reflect that. Not directly, they don't specifically refer to COVID or lockdowns, but they do come from the various emotions that Marcus, the singer and lyricist, was experiencing during that time. Frustration, uncertainty, possibly depression. They're actually pretty dark songs with a couple of exceptions. Happy or not, the thing I love about great lyrics, which I think these are, is the way they draw you into the mindset of the writer. It's a perspective thing. And in my experience, the darker the lyrics, the more it helps me grow as a person and I become kinder. Sorry, I'm getting a bit deep.
No, go for it, please. That was good.
Anyway, we've been threatening to do this album review for ages now, so I'm going to be a bit self-indulgent here and do a bit of a song-by-song analysis.
By all means, go for it.
Cool. Go for it.
Okay. So the opening track, clarity does a fantastic job of setting you up for the rest of the album and what you're about to experience. The first thing you hear is electronically generated music, but still created, chosen, manipulated, and controlled by a human. It's light,
drive-by,
and floaty. Sorry, that's the last of it, I promise. Light and floaty, but keeps building and keeps layering with those synth elements for a minute and a half before the rest of the band kicks in. When that happens, it's like a punch in the face. The pace and attack you get when the intro is over and the song kicks in is full on. Nick Peterson, the drummer, is the driver of this song, in my opinion. I think he's amazing. He gives you the onslaught of blast beats but knows where to pull back and give you room to breathe. Just for a moment, though, he switches grooves all the way through. I don't know much about drumming, but I know that I love listening to everything he's doing. Marcus's vocals get showcased well, clean and screams. The lyrics for this song are actually really interesting. The previous album, Alien, was in short about Marcus's pretty shitty upbringing. Reading the lyrics of that album, and what he had to endure is actually pretty heartbreaking. It was really brave of him putting that out there. So Alien is a great album all round. I know you guys have listened to it. Anyone else, if you haven't, definitely check it out if you like this one. So we're not here to talk about Alien. I'll get to my point. After Alien was released, Marcus received some negative feedback from his family over the album. So this song is his response to that backlash. Yeah. Okay. So it's sort of putting it into perspective and closing the door on that chapter. So I think it's a really interesting way to start an album. There's so much more to love about this song, but the standout for me is not only does it have one of the best lead-ins to a breakdown, it has one of the best breakdowns I've ever heard. Even the way they come out of it is beautiful. Nice. The guitar work here is great. I think the entire composition is masterful. I need to move on from this song, but I just have one last thing to share in this review. I think I've mentioned it before in a stream. Northlane opened their set at Knotfest in Sydney with this song. As soon as they came on, it started raining. And normally I'd hate being caught out in the rain, but I was so hyped that Northlane was starting their set that all I could do was just run and push up as far as I could to the stage. So by the time the lead-in to the breakdown started building, I was squished in as close as I could get. By the time the breakdown started, it was pissing down rain, and everyone around me just lost their shit when it dropped, and it just was, the whole thing just went nuts. It was awesome. So really, really memorable moment. I think anyone who was there would feel the same way. All right, so that's 4 pages, just that song. Okay. All right, so Clockwork follows on perfectly. The electronic elements are less prominent and more complementary in this track, I think, but they serve the song perfectly. John Dealey, the lead guitarist and main songwriter, creates all the electronic sounds for Northlane's music. I think he's a synth maestro. He's really fine-tuned how he builds the electronic elements into the band's core music. He does it so well now. I think he spent a lot of time over lockdown just playing with that aspect of his songwriting.
Okay. Yep.
The song has a great punch and groove through the verses. They keep that groove going through the choruses. I love the chorus melody Marcus has gone with. I think it really soars. A side note, and this is going to sound weird, I don't care though, but sometimes Marcus's chosen vocal melody sounds to me like the harmony of what the vocal melody should be.
Okay, yep.
It's like he's singing on the third, if you know what that means.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyway, this is just what my ears are telling me. Yeah. So, but I hear that not just here, but throughout other songs and.
Cool.
Anyway,
Maybe it's
as I said, weird.
People.
It's just what he does. I think it's cool though.
Yeah.
The lyrics in this song make me smile because my understanding is they are about Marcus needing to write lyrics for this song that he was presented with. Not feeling inspired by anything, a deadline was approaching, so he ended up using that very situation for the lyrics. I'm running out of time.
Cool.
I think it's a fantastic, pragmatic, use what you have approach to songwriting.
Yep.
It's a gem. Okay, so song 3, Echo Chamber. Lyrically, straight up commentary about social media. Musically, straight up banger. This was my favourite track on the album when I first heard it, and it remains so. Starts out as an upbeat dance track and goes through this metamorphosis to become a heavy, pit-worthy metal song, and you don't even notice it happening. It's really apparent, though, when you play this one on repeat, which I have done a lot. It's also very clever because the whole song is pretty much a repeat of the same riff, verses, choruses, everything. It's what they do around that riff that makes the song change and evolve.
Yeah.
Slowing down the tempo towards the end of the song definitely helps with the heaviness. Northlane are no strangers to doing that. They did that on their very first track of the very first album. I also love the video clip for this song. It always gets a giggle out of me. Okay. Carbonized, another great song. A definite new metal vibe I get in the verses. Aggressive vocals which suit the lyrics. Again, a really nice melodic chorus. Lots of synth atmosphere behind it. Great contrast to the punchy, syncopated verses. Abomination could almost be a dance song if it weren't for the low guitar riff and Marcus screaming his way through the verses. Chorus melody is one of those instances that sounds like he's singing a harmony line. That's cool. I'm really loving all his chorus melody choices on this album. The section about halfway through where you suddenly find yourself at a rave is awesome. I love that part.
Nah, not for me.
And they transition back into the groove of the song seamlessly. Plenty. Oh, sorry, just had music start in my ear. Okay, Plenty is another favourite of this album. I particularly love the guitar work on this song. This is where Josh is playing really shines. I just love how he taps away at that riff, and the sound he gets out of his guitar is awesome. Again, lots of atmosphere going on around it. Marcus's vocals are beautiful. Thought-provoking lyrics about not welcoming the concept of reincarnation. Life is hard and cruel. Why would I want to endure it over and over again? I've had plenty. Let me rest in peace. This is a test. It is a proper deep cut, but it's another favourite because it always gets me up and dancing around. Every time, without fail, whatever I'm doing, it's time to dance.
Cool.
There's another song on a metal album that does the exact same thing to me. Auslander from Rammstein's Untitled. Total dance track. Very cool. Zen has a cool groove to it. Another new metally sound to the verses. Lovely melodic chorus melody. They're just part of their song structure now. Another favourite band of mine does this, so no complaints there. There's a nice bridge in this song too. As I said, the groove in this one is awesome. It doesn't get me up and dancing, but definitely has me nodding along. There's a really weird, spacey outro that actually serves as a good transition mood-wise into Cypher.
Yep.
Which is definitely not boppy or peppy. It's dark and moody. Again, Nick in the driver's seat, he just pushes this one along so well. All the boys shine in this one. Lyric-wise, it's a song about the Matrix, which is cool, if you're into that.
Yep.
I'm sounding like a parrot now, but this is another favourite.
Cool.
I see this album as being split into two parts. The first half being the hits, the second half being the deep cuts. Okay. Initially, I preferred the first half, and I still love all of those songs, but over time, I've really grown to love the second half of this album because it's really diverse. Tracks like Nova, for instance, it's not like anything else on this album or any other Northlane album. Slow and spacey and dreamlike. It's kind of like lounge music, Northlane style. I've written Northland style.
Okay.
Lounge music.
You're not in Victoria. You're not in Melbourne.
This gets followed up by Inamorata, which again is unlike anything else on the album. This one is about a straight up rock, as Northlane get, I think. It's also a love song, which again is very un-Northlane like. Marcus wrote the lyrics for his partner, who was apparently rock solid for him while he was working through a lot of personal shit. So this song is about telling her that he is now strong enough to do the same for her should she need him, which I think is really beautiful.
Cool. Yeah.
The album closes out on two very much deep cuts, but much more typically Northlane sounding songs. Shit, I really needed to rephrase them. It's a long album, and while I like these two songs, Obsidian and Dark Solitaire, they are my least favourite songs on the album. I find at this point my attention is waning a bit. Not always. Yeah. Sometimes right into them. It's unpredictable. I actually feel guilty saying that, and I hope they never see this review.
I don't feel as bad saying it now. So.
When you said it, I'm like, I agree with that.
It's a bit long. It didn't need those ones at the end, I think. I think closing on Inamorata would have been good.
Yeah. I mean, you're chopping out the title track, but you could, I don't know, retitle an album, I suppose. They could have cut at least the last track and released it as a bonus, or both of them as bonuses. But I have to say that the breakdown of Marcus's growls in Obsidian are awesome. Overall, this is a stunningly creative, progressive and bold release from a still young Aussie band. The progression from what they released in their first album only 12 years ago to what they are putting out now, I think, is incredible. The way they have effectively taken two musical genres that I love, metal and techno, and fused them together so perfectly to create a new sound is really exciting to me. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm already hyped about what the next album will bring. This band doesn't sit still. They are always moving forward. I love how they sound now. So the question is, how will they sound even better next time? This album gets a 9.5 out of 10 from me, and my standout tracks are Clarity, Echo Chamber, Plenty, Is This a Test, and Cypher.
Nice.
I'm sorry that was so long.
No,
but
I
had to say it all.
No, that was cool. That was really cool, really thought out. And these sessions are all about you anyway, so that's perfectly fine. Like that was awesome.
All about me. Thanks, guys.
Now I'm curious how Dave's going to go with this one though, because I think hang on though, because I think the beginning of this was Dave. I think was harsher on it than I was in the beginning. Just now, chats behind the scenes, but I think Dave it's grown on Dave. Am I right?
Yes, it has. Believe it or not, I've actually been looking forward to this. But it's insane that I am looking forward to this because this was the only album in the whole history of me on THRS that I refused to review. I got 3 songs in initially, and I could not go any further. But it has been a very interesting journey with this band. If we had done this a year ago, this would be a completely different review, and me and Belle would be button heads, I think. But first time round, I got 3 songs in, could not go any further. Lots of programmed elements, harsh vocals, and metalcore cliches. By the third track, Echo Chamber, with that programmed shit at the start, it annoyed the hell out of me. And then the first lyric was, "Have you tried turning it off?" And I said to my phone, "That's a fucking great idea." I didn't listen to a note past it. I jumped on the chat. I'm just like, I cannot do this album. I'm not doing it.
That chat was pretty brutal, to be honest. And
I remember Tim saying, "Don't worry, Dave, what you don't want to say, I will."
Yeah.
So, but that didn't happen anyway. But usually, an album like that, I could trash it or I could find a funny angle, but I could not do either. I just couldn't find it, just couldn't do it. So a year later, we had some downtime. I thought I would give it another go because it was becoming a running joke on the stream. Belle can't stand Dream Theater. Dave can't stand Northlane. However, Belle started to appreciate Dream Theater. So I'm just like, oh, okay. I'll give it another go. I'll see what I can do. So I got through the whole thing, and I'm glad I did. While there were still some parts that I do struggle with, I also found a lot of really cool songs. And for a lot of subsequent listens, I can actually say this is a really cool band. Interestingly, even though I still hate the start, Echo Chamber has become a favorite song, and I have listened to that song over and over. It's no secret I struggle with digital shit. Sampling loops, it does fuck all for me. You get zero emotion out of a machine. For me, there is more to music than just sound, and twisting dials and pressing buttons, completely devoid of emotion. There is no human element. Are you making music, or are you doing a jigsaw puzzle? But if it uses a backdrop to what other real instruments are doing on top of it, it can create an interesting effect and an interesting mood. It just doesn't have the emotion, but if it's in the background, I can deal with it. When it comes to the foreground, at best it's annoying, at worst it's distracting. Just for me. The opening track, Clarity, goes for a lot of different textures and moods, from brutal to subtle. It's like digging deep into the human mind, where complex people and music can reflect that. And with each subsequent listen, you get more and more out of these lyrics, which are more about lyrics, as people know with regular reviews. Clockwork really started to stand out with each. What's that?
I must need to go back over this again because I didn't get that depth that you guys are getting. But okay, cool.
Wow. Okay. I think I'm going to actually praise this album more than you, man. I don't know what's happened. I feel dirty. Fuck, okay. Dave from 2022 would be disgusted with myself. Clockwork really started to stand out with each listen due to the lyrics. The guy has a hell of a lot inside him to share with others, and it's awesome that he can do that and just be open. And it is great for listeners who pick up on that and, well, as Belle said, try and become a better person by hearing what people struggle with. I like the use of the clean and the harsh vocals. This is the right style at the right moment. It fits what the emotions of the lyrics are. I have struggled with harsh lyrics in the past. For the most part, these are really good. There is some digital elements in the middle of this song that I did my best to overlook. And it works, to go back to that. Now, Echo Chamber. Every time this song comes on, I'm just like, make it through the intro, make it through the intro. It's going to get better. It gets better. Cool. Bang. We're into the song. The bass tones create an awesome mood and feel. The lyrics are great, and the more I listen to it, the more it bores into my brain. To be honest, it wouldn't have the same mood and feel without the electronic elements. It's really pushing my opinions, but when we reviewed the Voyager album, Live and Learn, I'm starting to deal with it, if that makes sense. I can see it, like I said, as a backdrop to real instruments on top of it. Just when it pushes to the foreground, it's like, fuck off. The harsh delivery of the Echo Chamber chorus towards the end and halfway through that is fucking great. Love that delivery. Carbon Eyes has excellent lyrics. There have been countless songs written about internal struggles and dealing with the consequences of abuse, but this feels a lot more real than a lot of those other songs that I've heard with the same theme, especially in the metalcore genre. It seems that genre is very repetitive of the same themes, but this seems genuine. It seems really heartfelt. Really good use of words and descriptions, and the changes in the vocal style and the mood and the music. It's really good template for him to share his story. Lyrics all throughout this album are really well done. It goes from some pretty dark places, but it doesn't stay there. Lyrically and musically, it does go through, it ebbs and flows. It's about facing your darkest fears, darkest memories, and moving forward. Is this a test? Yes, it is. This one's a bit too dance club for me. Fuck that song. No. But it makes up for it.
It's funny how you didn't like that, but I did like that one. So there we go.
Not for me. Then, this is cool. Great contrast between the harsh and melodic, clean vocal tones. Sounds great. Lots happening in almost 6 minutes. It ends in a completely different place to where it started. On my first listen, when I forced myself to get through this album the first time, Zen is actually what won me over on my first full listen. I have to admit, by this point, I was enjoying the album. But the last minute of the song, that last little wind down bit, I'm surprised Andrew didn't pick up on this. Did you get Pink Floyd Shine On You Crazy Diamond? The slow intro? I was waiting for Dave Gilmour's guitar tone to ring out, just so slow back note at the start of that. Because that synth, almost tone for tone, is exactly what I hear at the start of Shine On You Crazy Diamond. So I made a connection to a band and a song that I love. So my opinions for Northlane started to get questioned. Started to challenge myself, like, fuck, I love Pink Floyd. They use synths all the time. Northlane using synths. They're using the techno element as well. It's 30 years later or 40 years later, it's the next progression musically. So how can I appreciate one and criticize another? So it's just like, fuck. So now I've made a connection to this album on my first listen. So, okay, I'm in for the ride. As I said, I've forgotten how many times I've listened to this album since. Cypher, great atmosphere on this song, mood changes and the energy builds. That's a cool one. Nova was a nice change of pace, and I got more Pink Floyd vibes from this one. Also some Porcupine Tree as well. So I'm making more associations to bands that I like. Wow. But into the more proggy stuff, there's a big prog element. Not prog metal, but more prog rock. Modern prog rock, not the 70s and 60s prog rock.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Inamorata, very haunting songs. These lyrics are nothing short of gripping. And I'm glad he sings in the clean style for this. Apart from fitting the mood of the song, the lyrics are so well done. I'm glad you can hear them. There's a few moments when he goes for the harsh delivery, but that's perfectly timed and it fits with the emotion of the story that he's telling. But for the most part, it's clean, and yeah, you need to hear those lyrics. As a contrast, Obsidian, this song is disappointing. It starts off good, and it comes down to my old pet hate, the vocals. I've grown accustomed to harsher vocals this year, as long as you can make out what the singer's saying. And the harsh vocals on this song are almost incomprehensible, which is fucking annoying because these lyrics are fantastic. Going for the lyrics here, I'm just like, why? I get the anger, I get wanting to do that, but just dial it back a little bit, dude, so we can hear what you're saying. Yeah, just a personal taste there. I doubt this band will ever give me goosebumps. The electronic element just blows it for me. I don't have that emotional connection in my brain. It never happens with electronic music, partly why I can't stand most of it. But I can put this album on and enjoy it from start to finish. I've done it a lot. I've got my favorite songs, but yeah, depending on what mood I'm in at work, right music for the right mood. I am glad it took a while, but I'm glad I came back to this album and gave it another chance. Overall, I give it 8.5 out of 10. Oh. Echo Chamber, Carbonized, Zen, Cypher, and Inamorata, my standouts. I went back and listened to Alien as well. I found my old review. I gave that 4 out of 10 initially. So I must have liked it better because I refused to listen to this initially. But yeah, if I went through that album again, I'd probably give it a much higher score than 4 as well. Wow. But yeah, this is cool. I like this. This is a good band.
There you go. That's different. I didn't expect that at all.
Wow.
Just for context, my review score this time around was higher than last time around as well. Just so it does grow on you. It does. It does, yeah. It is one of those ones. It is.
But you know what? If they took the electronic element out, they wouldn't be them anymore. They wouldn't be a unique band. Yeah. So much as I don't like it, you need to be who you are. It's like what's happened to Dream Theater. The wow factor's gone because they got stripped down of what makes them them. Take out what makes this band them, just wouldn't be the same. So, but they do it well enough that I can overlook a lot of it. So that's definitely a plus.
It's big for you, yeah. You normally struggle hardcore with that kind of stuff, so that's amazing. That's really well done, man. So that's funny how it all works.
Thanks for putting in the time, guys. Both of you. Like I appreciate it.
I'm glad that you championed it too, though. Like that's the whole point of it. Like this is when you want people to give something a chance and you persist with it. That's that's a good thing too. Making people really challenge their perspectives and their tastes and all that kind of stuff is a good thing. It makes you because it changes the way you evaluate the things you love as well. So it's a good thing. It allows us all to grow into what we're doing here. And I'm glad that we finally. It took us a while to get here, like you said, but we finally got here, which is the good thing. And so I'm glad we got around to doing it. And I'm glad it. I may be the most critical one here tonight, but I'm glad it went better than it would have gone in the past, which is a good thing in context of all as well. So
timing was right this time around.
Yeah, everything happened in its time and space for this reason, which is cool. So Belle, thank you for putting it forward. We have another one though. And this is another one that we figured would fit into this sort of vibe here, and that's the latest from Septicflesh. It's called Modern Primitive. It's 9 tracks, 39 minutes, so a bit shorter. 11th studio album from the Greek band, released May 2022 via Nuclear Blast, produced by Jens Bogren and the band at a few studios across Sweden, Greece, and the Czech Republic. 2 promotional tracks were released in Hierophant and Necromancer, is it? Or Neuromancer? I forget now.
Neuromancer.
Not a lot of other info around, but we did review another of this band's albums earlier on as a Patreon choice as well, and we were blown away by that one, especially Dave and myself was sitting there going, fuck, okay, this is really cool, which is sort of between Northlane and this. We know that Belle adores this band as well, so I figured we'd give this one a go to, and the randomizer has drawn me out first again, so let's see if I'm going to get up this time around. long story short, the band have done it again. I'm super glad that Bell has made us put more time into these guys. So between the last album and between this one now, I'm becoming a big fan of this band and what they do. The blend of folk and death metal is great. It's so seamless. It's well executed. I love the drama in these songs. This is epic from beginning to end. It starts off with a really nice build with the traditional and orchestral elements. Those get used well all through this, though, for great impact and contrast throughout the whole album. This is a score to something like Stargate meeting death metal, and for me, it's utterly brilliant. The use of space is fantastic in these songs. It's accessible too for the genre. If you're curious but have struggled with a lot of this sort of style of music, this might be a sneaky gateway point for you. But the clean singing, the use of harmony brought in on tracks like Hierophant is wonderful. Plenty of bass and growls, but that light and shade is really impressive. I love the lyrics. This one, the lyrics, yes, please more. There's plenty to take in there. It fits the music so well, but there's some great drama, great storytelling in it all. And I love how the slower vocals are done over things like the heavy blast beats. The contrast there is really remarkable, really well done, and that's why, for me, it's something I bring up because it's important to have those elements there that sort of counterbalance and play off of each other, which is really cool. I love the mix on this one. It's so smooth and well balanced, and that's no mean feat for what's going on here. You listen to this and there's a lot going on. The orchestration and the vocals that go in amongst all this sort of stuff and how it's been blended together mix-wise, it's just beautiful to listen to. The blasting stuff is heavy, it's dark, it's intense as you want it to be. The brutality is undeniable, but the clarity is crystal, which is phenomenal. To get that blend right is hard, and I love it. There's great space, great depth, great warmth. The attack is brilliant on it. The placement and layering is all just bang on. If you want to know how to mix this sort of music, this is an album to listen to. Tracks like Neuromancer are just impressive just for how well the contrast is blended. The clean lead vocals on that is just fitting for that song. It's beautiful. This is equal parts across the board, beauty and aggression all the way through. Not an overly happy listen per se, but it's captivating from beginning to end. There's something about it that just holds your attention and will not let you go. I think it's great writing, great performances. It's really damn hard to fault anything here at all across this one. It's a prime example of this is that, like, a prime example, sorry, of all I'm talking about is the haunting little quiet touch in Coming Storm. That really does live up to the song title, the way it just builds there. It's still brutal, but that one moment within it is just amazing. It's a great setup. There's a lot of little things like that across this album that just make it impressive. The injection of soft choral vocals, that focus. What do I put there? Damn, my typing's gone crap there. But yeah, the injection of soft choral vocals in Modern Primitives, that the track itself is just another example of what I'm talking about there too. There's loads of weight all across this, but it's really easy to take in and to repeat spin as well. It's heavy, but it's organic still. It really snaps, but it has great punch. The depth and space is fantastic. For this style of music, this is unique, and it drags you in, which is why I think it's more of a gateway than people might expect it to be. Also, for people that know me, I love mythological storytelling and all that kind of stuff, and that part of this, that element in this was just wonderful. They've really managed to get the balance of that just right and give this band a nice standout point of difference, which is cool. These guys are really damn good at what they do. I've got to keep digging more. I've loved 2 albums now. I think they're a fantastic band, and this is a band that I will comfortably go digging on and spending a lot more time with. I gave this 8.5 out of 10. I picked Hierophant, Neuromancer, and Modern Primitives as my standouts on this one. This one I enjoyed quite a lot. Cool. And we're following the exact same pattern as the last review, so Belle, over to you.
All right. Okay. So, Andrew, do you remember way back somewhere in the middle of last year, I sent you a message about how good this album was? It was on Patreon, and I brought it up.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Something went wrong. Please try again. That's really not helpful. Shit. This is not going well. Okay, so yeah, I thought it might be fun to read that out because it was kind of a mini review about this album. I think I was trying to get you to listen to it way back then.
Okay. I've got.
So I have it. I had it. Look, I was so obsessed with it that I wanted to share it with the world. And at that point, I didn't have many people to share this kind of music with that I thought would appreciate it. So I'm like, well, I've got to tell these guys. Anyway, so I found it.
I've got it. I found the note.
Yeah. It's just I was shitting on it at the start. Anyway, so I've got the band from Greece, and that fact is apparent from the first few notes, but it doesn't run through the whole album. It just flavors it here and there. It's got just about every kind of singing, mostly harsh vocals, but also clean choral and what I think might be traditional style. Musically, light and shade all the way through, heavy, add some groove, throw in some traditional acoustic guitar moments, and there are strings only at times and then a whole orchestra going. There are even a couple of brief moments on the album where I'm hearing grunge elements, and I stand by that. Overall, there is no shortage of drama. The sound wall is huge. I would dearly love to hear your thoughts on this one, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You got my thoughts.
So, yeah. Yes. So I never received a response to that message.
No, I did apologise for that.
I think that's funny. Anyway, patience pays off, because here we are now, like a year later or so, talking about it.
I can tell you
that. All right. Modern primitive. Big, epic, orchestral, heavy, brutal. Ultimately, another COVID album. The band had started recording songs for this album just as COVID lockdowns were coming into effect all over the world. So recording was stalled. Everything pretty much came to a halt. Like the rest of us did, the band sat back and watched events unfold. And they ended up drawing upon their thoughts and views of the situation and did a lot of reworking of the songs, most of the lyrics that were already written for the album. The album became somewhat of a commentary about mankind, his weaknesses, his endless mistreatment of his fellow man, mistreatment of the earth, and the impact and toll all these things take in countless ways. The lyrics, the stories told through songs are either standalone or, in the case of Hierophant and Self-Eater, are a story told in two parts, which is about salvation. Regardless, there is a core theme, humanity, primitive and modern, the band has drawn upon and which has influenced all of these songs, making it a varied but cohesive listen from start to finish. The three remaining founding members of the band, both the guitarist and the bassist vocalist, are the key songwriters, and they have two different approaches to their songwriting collaborations. Their lead guitarist, Christos, went to the UK and studied classical guitar, music theory and composition, and came away with a master's degree in concert music. So he writes all the orchestral scores.
That's cool.
When he writes and puts forward song ideas to the rest of the band, they are classical music pieces that the band then adapts into metal songs. But the reverse also happens. When the other guys write guitar riffs and melodies, Christos then writes the orchestral elements for those songs.
Okay,
and
cool.
for this album, so it's a bit of a mix. I don't know which was which. It's unclear, but it works either way because you can't tell. So for this album, most of those songs were initially written on a 12-string guitar, which I thought was
cool.
I think it was the first time they'd done that, but they seem to like it. Whichever way the songs originate, when you're listening to the end product, the orchestral instruments are so deeply intertwined with the band's instruments, you can't compartmentalize each aspect. They are as one. The sound this creates is enormous and incredible, and to use one of our Jeff's favourite words, bombastic. But they know how and when to scale things back, giving your ears time to rest and space to appreciate what element of the music is being showcased in those moments. And with this band, it could be anything from an unusual and haunting vocal solo to soaring violins to traditional Mediterranean-style guitar playing. But whatever it is that momentarily stands alone after all the grandiose power of the band and orchestra, it absolutely shines. The one thing throughout this album that you can distinctly hear contrast is that of the choir and the deep guttural vocals. Mm-hmm. I'm really fussy when it comes to harsh vocals, and Seth sounds awesome. He always does. His vocals are, of course, a perfect match for the brutality of the heavy riffs throughout the album. The main riff in Neuromancer is one of my all-timers now. I fucking love that one. But his vocals also stand up really well against the grandeur of the orchestra. There is so much to take in when listening to this album. I've listened to it every single day for weeks and weeks when it came out. It had me totally captivated every single time, and it still does. Every song has its own groove and unique points of interest. It's so tempting to do a song by song of this, but I won't. Anyway, I think it would be more fun to listen to this album with someone else and have a conversation as it went along. Just to touch on production for a moment, I'm not sure if this came about because of the COVID situation or if they always intended to record the album this way, but the album ended up being recorded in 3 different studios in 3 different countries. So the guitars and vocals in Greece, the drums in Sweden, and the orchestra in the Czech Republic. Christos wasn't able to travel to Prague for the recording of the orchestra, so he had to attend the whole thing online, communicating with the producer and the conductor there. I can't imagine that would have been easy, but they pulled it off beautifully. You'd never know he wasn't there to oversee it. And so all of these things got, sent off to the producer to pull together, and I think he did a ridiculously good job.
Really good job.
The cover art was done by Seth, the main vocalist. Yeah, Jens is it Brogan?
Ogren, he is an absolute gun.
Ogren,
he is a gun.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was just thinking if he did Communion or like what... How far back he goes with the band. I'll have to look into that because now is not the time. So the main cover art used on the CD and Spotify is different from the one on the record. I have it here. So that's the one that you'll know. Whoops. Shit, sorry. That's the one. And then this is the record. I should have taken it out of its thing. Oh, cool. It's really cool, really detailed. This is a gatefold, and it folds out, and there's this amazing drawing on the inside. It's just fascinating, really detailed. Cool stuff. Anyway, this one's much shorter. So I give this a 9.5 out of 10, and my standouts are Neuromancer, Hierophant, and A Desert Throne.
Nice. There we go. More in-depth, really sharp, really well done, Belle. Got to give you a lot of credit. These are fantastic reviews you're giving here. So
I agree.
All righty, we have one more. Dave, pretty sure you like this one too.
Oh yeah. Septicflesh will forever be my gateway into the world of symphonic black metal. That Communion album surprised the hell out of me a few months ago. That was an excellent album, so I was pretty keen to check out this one too. Similar in style to what they did on Communion, but this one also feels a lot more cinematic in scope. Each song seems to be like a short story or a film. There's so many different sections and layers going on within each song. The majority is full-on, bombastic, brutal, and hectic, but it's not monotonous at all. Things build and develop. There's a great sense of melody, switching tempos, and there's room to breathe within the compositions. That room to breathe means when they kick in with something heavier, it's a fucking punch in the face, which is brilliant. And the opening track, The Collector, is a perfect example of all of that. The symphonic elements can be both complementary and conflicting at times, depending on what mood they want to create. These parts sound dissonant. They don't always gel, which is cool, because there's always a payoff. It resolves when it needs to. And the drama is there to create something fantastic. A song like Self-Eater, it's a very pacey narrative and with different sections and moods. At times, the bass line does seem at odds with the keys as well, but other times it's locked in really tight. Even though I've heard it a bunch of times, and I'm always thinking, what comes next? That's like a lot of these songs. You just kind of expect the unexpected. Love the spoken word in that song. It's like the last 40 seconds have that slow wind down with the orchestra and the subtle female vocalizations. They're a nice touch as well. For all the complexities within these songs, there are some parts that just have the back to basic killer riffs, like the Neuromancer. But it's not just a riff fest. Sometimes the orchestral parts take over completely, and some chords are just left to ring out while the orchestra does its thing. Coming Storm, this grabbed my attention right from the opening note. Just over a minute into the song, the brutality stops for a few minutes, and there's that quiet moment with the female vocalizations. Then the band comes back in. No idea where this song is going to lead to. The build-up in the song is fantastic, and the sudden slight pauses make it even more dramatic. I love how they bring the clean vocals in towards the end of the song. Those vocals, those clean tone vocals that the singer does, they were a surprise on Communion too, and they tend to come in the right part of the album where it's just like, completely different layer, because they don't use it on every song. It's a good tool in the toolkit to bring out at the right moments. The Desert Throne, love how the song builds up. There's a new riff introduced in the middle and how it develops into something completely different. Title track. We can't really call it a title track because it's slightly different, isn't it? Modern primitive, modern primitives. Great use of the different vocal styles, interesting and thought-provoking lyrics, good addition with the small choir towards the end. There's a lot of music to consume on this release, a lot to take in with each song. But if you enjoy the journey of storytelling at different levels of drama, you'll certainly enjoy this. I might push you as well. The band pushed me with the initial release, so I've heard 2 albums now, so I'm going to have to dig deeper into their catalog because this band is fucking fascinating. We gave 9 out of 10. The Collector, Self-Eater, Neuromancer, Coming Storm, Desert Throne, and Modern Primitives are my standouts.
Nicely done. I'm sitting here going, damn, I am a critic tonight, aren't I? I've given the lowest scores to both of these albums. But no, that one in particular, though, yeah, there's a lot to take in with Septicflesh, which I think was to finally answer the question, Bill. Hopefully, you got the response you were looking for, because I think we both enjoyed that one. How'd you find going through this one with us tonight?
Oh, it's great. I loved actually sitting down and digging into. So this was awesome, and I loved getting, finally hearing what you guys thought of these albums. But yeah, just sort of sitting down and really picking apart and finding out more information, not just what I heard, like actually digging in and getting a bit of background about what went into these albums. That was probably the most interesting thing about doing this for me. And I know I put a lot of that into these reviews, but I just, I sort of realize that now reading them out. I'm like, wow, it's about the music, but it's also about what went into it. So I hope
it's the whole journey, the whole thing.
That's all cool.
That was got a lot out of that. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah,
fun.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for bringing me in to do this. It was cool.
You're more than welcome. And like I said before, they were very good reviews from you as well. So I think that if you ever want to do more of that, then let us know, because I think that was very well done on your behalf. So I think that I can speak for Dave.
Always cool.
As well. So that was very nice. But that does sort of bring us to the end. This is a shorter one, like I was saying, compared to a lot of other stuff anyway. We'll, hopefully, like I was saying, do more of these little Patreon Presents series as we go through things here. Now, we're not done behind the scenes. We're going to go and film some TV stuff and some other bits and pieces behind here as well. But this is something we wanted to get done just as a reward and a thank you to Belle for not only your support, but your patience as well, which we've touched on in this one here as well. You've been a fantastic help to us now behind the scenes as well, and you're a welcome addition to our live streams every week as well. So, lovely having you on, and I'm glad, I hope that you took as much away from this one, had as much fun with it as we did. So it was an absolute blast, so thank you for that.
Thanks for having me, guys. All right,
welcome.
I'll get out of here and let you. Yep.
Well, we'll do a quick little wrap up, and yeah, there is a weird delay, unfortunately. But what we'll do is we'll just do a quick little by the by. So make sure you are checking out all the stuff we do. We do live streams. We have TV shows every week. All of our details are online. They're in the description box. Make sure you hit those links to give us a follow, a like, a share, or anything like that, a subscribe. Anything at all you can do is greatly appreciated. And if you want to be like Belle here and get to join us and have some fun, then yeah, sign up to our Patreon page and have a look through there and see if there's anything that grabs your attention. And remember that any support you can give us there, no matter how small or big, is going to be greatly helpful to us behind the scenes to get us a lot more done in the near future and in the years to come as well. But we'll do more of these soon, but we'll also have all the other stuff going on. But as always, we're extremely busy, so we'll move on. But until next time, I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
I'm Belle.
As always, folks, you know what to do.
Drink up.
Drink up.
And rock on.
Alrighty, well, that will about do it for tonight. Bit of a shorter one than our usual 2 hours plus that we do on the live streams, but hopefully you enjoyed this one nonetheless. And yeah, just had fun going through this stuff that I've dug out of the archives from 2023. Before I get out of here, as always, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all the usual stuff that everyone gets to. There's been links in the description box of this one as well to check out, not only for us, but also for the bands being mentioned in the show tonight as well. So hopefully you go and do that and check out the music for yourself. Don't just take up our word for it. Yeah, always make up your own mind. We'll hopefully be back next week. We should be back next week with another actual live stream going back to our battle series, which will be the finale for this season, the King of the Riff and all the usual stuff going into that as well. But just got to make sure we get a few connectivity issues sorted out behind the scenes here, which is why we've done this special presentation for you here tonight. Wasn't planned, just one of those things that, yeah, unfortunately got some gremlins in the works and I've had to get some rewiring done and all sorts of stuff. So it's sort of put a kink in things this week, hopefully back to normal next week. But I'll, of course, keep you all posted. But that will do it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you have a great rest of your week and enjoy the weekend coming up. But we'll see you very, very soon regardless. On behalf of us all here at the show, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Andrew. As always, drink up, rock on.